want to say welcome and thank you all for coming to this dedication of the Goose Mural. My name is Debbie Monsive, and I'm the chair of the Cottage Grove Mural Committee, and together with Dana Merryday, yes, and Suzanne Huebner-Sannes, Gerald Santana, and Lloyd Williams. And we worked for over the last 2.5 years planning, fundraising, promoting, educating, and sharing our love of the Goose Excursion train for this moment. There are many to thank for helping us go from concept to reality. Faye Stewart and the Bohemia Foundation for making room in the North End expansion of Bohemia Park for the Goose Mural. It is a fitting location as number 19 would rest here when not in use. This was her home for almost 20 years. A shout out to Kenneth Roberts, the past chair of the Cottage Grove Mural Committee. He was working on this project, scouting out locations and soliciting concept drawings when he moved to Lostine. A big thanks to the Cottage Grove Historical Society for being our partner, our pass-through. They saw our vision and accepted our proposal, so thank you very much. Alice Christensen for her graphic designs for the Remember the Goose t-shirts and the thank you note design. Martin Hansen, who couldn't be here today, he is a lawyer who lawyers about railroad, but he came twice to Cottage Grove and gave presentations on the history of the goose and OP&E. And his wife, Marie, I want to thank her. She donated a stunning quilt for our raffle. Ernie Olson, he's here. South Lane TV and Carolyn Pettit for their generous donations. I also want to thank the Woodard Foundation for putting us over the fundraising finish line. And to Casey Woodard for creating the wonderful poster boards that are over there that has history on them. I also want to thank you, Coast Fork Brewing for our final fundraising venue and for accommodating us on countless Art Walk Fridays. And then the Huckleberries for other Fridays that they let us come down because the Huckleberries would promote us during our fundraising. It was fun. I also want to thank Michelle Rose from Crafty Mercantile, Galen Birdie from the Book Mine for hosting us at Art Walk when we couldn't be outside. Last but not least, Heather Endicott. Heather submitted her winning Goose Mural concept watercolor drawing. Heather was hesitant as she hadn't done a big project like this before. The mural committee wasn't hesitant. And she excelled at putting her concept from canvas to the wall. She captured our memories and the spirit of the Goose Excursion that filled our hearts here from 1971 to 1988 and beyond. Thank you, and it has been such an honor to work with you. The Mural Committee wanted this project to be a community effort, something that we could all get behind and be a part of. Whether it was dropping your change in a donation jar or purchasing Goose merchandise, it was a group effort, and I am so proud of each of you for working together to create this lasting memory of our Goose Excursion and beloved number 19, the movie star. For those who weren't living here or weren't born yet, number 19 would leave here every Saturday and Sunday morning and head over to the Village Green Depot to connect to passenger cars. Then passengers would get on board for the 17-mile ride up to the Culp Creek turnaround and then back again. Every weekend for 17 years, the sound of the whistle could be heard from here east, up through the Lang Valley, around the lake, through the communities of Dorena and Culp Creek. While the passengers were experiencing their scenic vistas, my father, Key Stiff, was sharing history, yarns, and factoids as the excursion lumbered along the tracks. He volunteered to be the narrator for the last 8 years of the excursion's existence. This project was personal for my family, but more important for our community's history. It was a time of prosperity, as over 20,000 people a year would come from all over the world to Cottage Grove for this train experience. I want to honor all those who worked on the Goose Excursion, the OP&E crew that kept number 19 in top shape, repaired the tracks, those who greeted guests, sold tickets and merchandise at the Village Green Depot. And for those who worked in the snack bar on the train or between runs to make every passenger's ride the best experience possible. Thank you. I'm hoping some of them are here. The collaboration between Bohemia Incorporated, OP&E, and the Village Green was amazing for that 17 years. Our community benefited from this attraction. Unfortunately, when Bohemia Culp Creek's mill shut down due to economic conditions, the excursion itself could not support being the sole entity for the track maintenance and liability. The Culp Creek mill used the tracks during the week to transport finished lumber to markets around the world. So in 1988, the decision was made to close the excursion. It was a huge loss for our community. Many tried to find a way to keep it going, but in the end, it was not feasible. In 1993, BLM started developing a master plan for the Row River Rails to Trails. By June of 1994, the rails were long gone and the Row River Trail was graveled. Enthusiasts were starting to use the path. I myself spent the morning of my 40th birthday riding the path to Culp Creek and back. Hundreds tried it out, and by 1998, the trail was paved with benches, restrooms, signage to guide bicyclists and joggers along the journey. We lost our a wonderful Goose Excursion, but we gained an amazing Row River Trail that has been serving our community and tourists for almost 30 years. Engine number 19 is being restored at the Age of Steam Roundhouse Museum in Sugar Creek, Ohio. They hope that it will be done next summer. They are going to paint it in the fashion that it was for Emperor of the North, which was a movie that was filmed here. And today we're here to dedicate our newest mural thanks to this community. And I am so blessed to have lived here all my life, and thank you all. Faye is going to say a few words, and I don't know if anybody else would like to, but I really would like people to share their memories of the Goose Excursion or your parents' memory. And if you share a memory, you get to pick some merchandise that's left over from our fundraising. So here's Faye. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Wow, thank you everyone for coming out for this special occasion. I've been lucky enough to be present at 2 of these in the last 2 months at this site. The first was the dedication of the splash pad and the improvement, and tonight it's the dedication of this absolutely incredible mural. I'd like to ask, how many people, raise your hand, that actually got to experience the Blue Goose? Wow, quite a few of us. My earliest memory, actually I probably shouldn't say earliest memory, because I had to call my dad last night and ask him, when was my birthday that we got to take on the Blue Goose? And he said, you know, I got a picture of that. So he dug it out, and the picture said it was my 4th birthday. So that was 1971. Another person that joined me on that excursion was a classmate of mine that we graduated together. Her name's Teresa Boyce, and her maiden name was Carlton, and it's hardly rare that I bump into her and she doesn't say, "You remember when we got to go on that awesome birthday party on the Blue Goose?" So, and then as a kid growing up, we lived out Monsive Creek virtually my entire life on Groot Road, and that was part of the path that the Blue Goose took to get up to Cope Creek, and I loved great memories of seeing the Blue Goose go down the tracks, and we would be hanging out the window trying to get the engineer to blow the whistle, and most times he did, so it was pretty incredible to see that steam come out and hear that whistle. So I have a lot of fond memories, and hopefully the folks that raise their hands have them too, and we'll share them. So a little bit about Bohemia Park. One of the important components of Bohemia Park is to try to capture the history of what created Cottage Grove, and one of the prominent pieces is the railroad component of history. Almost where we stand here was where the original station was for the railroad. Right here where this tower is, the base for a tower, a future water tower, that's where the steam engine would pull up and fill up with water and head on its way over to the village green to hook up and take people for their excursions. So a lot of what we tried to create at this space here was to try to capture the history. We were able to find and worked with an incredible architect, David Doherty, a landscape architect, and he scoured around and found a stamp for concrete to be able to put the rails in. And I think it was, I can't remember the exact time, but I knew that as I worked for the city of Cottage Grove, Councilor Roberts would mention quite regularly about this mural, and that it was that they had hoped to find a home for it, and they'd actually found a place across the railroad tracks on the market wall that they were seeking to try to get it. And then I vaguely remember a telephone call from Debra Monsive saying, "Hey, can I chat with you?" So she came down and talked to me, and she said, "You know, we'd really like to find a little bit more prominent place to put the mural." And I said, "Well, she said, is there any place on Bohemia Park that we could put it?" And I said, "Well, you know, I just don't know of a wall or a place that we could put it." And so she planted the seed. I went home and thought about it over the weekend, and we had just been notified of 2 huge grants for this park. One was the EDA grant, and the other was the state parks. And so I made the commitment to her after talking to our board members, "Hey, what if we put this bathroom in and created a space for the mural?" So I asked Debra what size of a wall that we needed, and she told me the size. I went to the architect and said, "We really need to design a bathroom facility that could house this mural." So you laugh about it, but that's how this got here. The architect, framed it with wood and made sure that we had excellent lighting. If you haven't been here in the evening, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So, I'm thankful that Debra came and asked me, and we were able to make arrangements, because this really is an incredible, important piece of our history that we're able to capture for generations to come. And I even had my, I'll call her my great aunt, but she's probably Aunt Jeannie McBride's here with her husband Dave. She came up to me and she said, the artist captured this perfectly. The trees are just the right size so you could actually see the goose going around the lake, because back, if it was here today, the trees would be too tall and you wouldn't even see that going around there. So anyway, this is just a great addition, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this special moment tonight and for years to come.
Mostly, I just want to thank everyone who made this possible. Working on this mural for the last couple of months, the support, the love, the just amazing feedback from the community has been overwhelming and completely lovely. it was a hot summer to work on this. And because of the aspect here, if you're here in the morning, you're going to get baked. And if you wait until the afternoon when there's shade, it's already 90 degrees. But it all worked out, and the people who made it possible for me to be here, starting with Coast Fork Brewing, who gave me the inspiration and ability to do the initial Blue Goose painting. Some of you are wearing those shirts today, which is very cool to see. That then inspired Debra and Kenneth to come and chat with me. Thank you to Debra for being so stubborn and not taking no for an answer the first several times. I would not be here without her. This wouldn't be here without her. And then Coast Fork Willamette Watershed Council gave me the time and additional support to be able to be here. And these things take a long time. So they were very patient and very understanding and very flexible. So thank you very much. And finally, everybody here and my family for giving me tolerance and patience. So thank you. I can come back home in the evenings now. Thank you so much, Cottage Grove. You are a wonderful, wonderful town.
And Heather is the featured artist at Slabtown for the art walk, but her art will still be there after tonight.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. My name is Candace Soulsby, if you don't know me, and I'm the mayor of Cottage Grove. Thank you. I especially want to acknowledge Heather for her amazing, amazing artwork. It's incredible what you accomplished, and it goes without saying that this is what Cottage Grove can accomplish when we put our minds together and don't give up. So, and I just want to say, I went to high school with Faith Stewart, and you always know when someone's from Cottage Grove when they say Culp Crick. So, I want to talk a little bit about what's coming forward for Cottage Grove in the next 2 years. You know what a big process this was to get this accomplished, one mural in 2 years. And 2 years from now, we have an organization coming to our city called the Wall Dogs. And I'm hoping Heather will become a new wall dog with that group. And all the local artists, they encourage all local artists to become honorary wall dogs and travel with them. The Wall Dogs are a group of, I want to say it's about 500 worldwide artists, and they usually bring about 200 to 300 artists every year. Once a year, they choose one city in the United States, and they descend on that city, and they paint 15 murals, up to 15 murals in 4 days. So it's a huge deal. And over 200 cities every single year apply for this honor. And Cottage Grove has received it for 2027. So imagine, it is like 300 foreign exchange students coming to our community. And the community will put them up in our homes, invite them in. They work for free. They're going to be painting for free. And all the paint, the scaffolding, everything will be donated. And so we have a lot of work to do as Cottage Grove citizens to fundraise and go out and get all of the needed supplies that the Wall Dogs need. And we're going to need every volunteer on deck for this project. And we are going to be joined in this with the 50th anniversary of Animal House that we're working on as well. And so you all hopefully remember the 40th anniversary when we had Otis Day and the Knights and the Kingsmen here, and we had the biggest toga party in the nation. Well, it's going to be bigger and better this time. And we are already working on it, and we are going to need all your help. So you guys need to be really excited about this, because I believe this is going to be the biggest event Cottage Grove has ever seen. And October 25th, if you have not heard, it is the first fundraiser for this event, and it's the Mayor's Monster Ball. So get your costumes ready, buy your tickets through the chamber, and come and bring your pocketbooks, because we're going to need you to donate to this cause if you can, because it is so worth it. This is something that's going to bring our community together and celebrate our history. We have so much to paint in Cottage Grove. We have our gold mining history, we've got our timber industry, we have our saloons and everything that was on Main Street. We have our Hollywood connection. There is so much here that we need to celebrate, and we're going to need every single one of you involved in this. And so I want to say thank you again to everyone that was involved in this project. Thank you, Heather. And let's look forward to what's coming for our future.
So who wants to take the mic and share a memory and leave with something? Come on. Oh, please.
My name is Charles Lang, in case anybody wants to know. I was here, I moved up in Oregon from California, and I'm glad I came up here, because when you have a steam locomotive, which is one of my favorite things, just within like 15, 20 miles, and I visited it, I came up here in '79, and I had to visit it, of course, and with another friend of mine, Mike Rademacher, we would both, or I would come down, or we would both come down, and just photograph the goose. And I'm sorry I have to make a correction, but it is the Goose. The Blue Goose ran on the Wairika Western. Same locomotive, but different railroad. Still owned by Cow Railways at the time. But as I say, I have several thousand photographs of the OP&E, mostly the Goose. And I've been posting a bunch of pictures on the website that I've taken over the years. And I also produced, I like the sound of steam locomotives. And so I recorded the Goose at various locations along the line, from coming out of the shops all the way up to Culp Creek and back again. And I produced a 1-hour cassette tape that was sold by the gift shop, the Village Green Depot and gift shop. And I think you say you still have one. I actually transferred that to a CD, so I could do a CD of it if somebody wanted one. But yeah, just hearing the whistle of that locomotive as it echoes off the hillsides, especially in a couple of the recordings, it's just unbelievable. I just love to hear it. And this is the first time I've seen a lot of photographs of the mural when it was proposed and being done in the process. But this is the first time I've seen it live and in person. And I must say, it is just fantastic. The color and everything, the locomotive, it's just beautiful. Extremely well done. And as I've kind of ran off on my rails here, but anyway, it's just, I'm glad to come down. This is actually the first time I've been in this area since the railroad was here, which was basically 1994 was the last year that the OP&E was in business. And so just coming back to Cottage Grove, I've been to Cottage Grove because our model train club has done a couple of displays here. And, I've come down to help them a couple of times. And it's just, as I say, unbelievable. I'm glad they made this. This is just a beautiful park. Shame the railroad isn't here and the goose isn't here, but, well, it's here in spirit. Let's put it that way. Anyway, thank you for doing all of this. This is just, yeah, unbelievable. It's a great memories. I've ridden the train a couple of times, and thanks to the engineer, George McFadden, he said when there's no officials around, he could let people, ride in the cab. And so I actually got 3 cab rides. One of them was for sound recordings. Another one, because I recorded from the cab, between the cab and the tender, and it just sounds different. You had to be in the cab in order to understand that. And so the second cab ride was for sound recording, where I actually sat on the edge of the tender with the microphones above the cab roof. And that's basically what you would hear if you were along trackside. As I say, it's just a different sound inside the cab. And the third cab ride was for video. I took a bunch of video. I've got several hours of the goose on video, both from the cab and obviously along the tracks, practically everywhere that it's been on the line. And I'm really thankful now that I have all of that. And it's just fantastic memories. As I say, that whistle is just mind-blowing when you can hear it. So anyway, thank you.
And I'm so happy to see you in person. We've communicated before.
Oh, yeah.
And so over on this bench, there's some things that you can select. There's a T-shirt, hat, a concept drawing.
I think I still
and
have
some
a
buttons.
coat and
Yeah, I have
other
two.
stuff from
I have two.
from
Yeah.
the gift shop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Would someone else like to share a memory?
I'd just like to keep this quick. My uncle Melvin Gowing was the general manager of OP&E through the 70s and early 80s. And so I was able to ride the train a few times, compliments of him. He passed away last month at the young age of 94, so he's not here today. I did bring my aunt by earlier just to show her this beautiful mural, and I'm sure they would be real happy. Last time I rode this train was 1982 when I got out of basic training. My uncle put me on the train and took me to the bar car and said, "This is my nephew, you take care of him."
So Jeff, pick something. Who wants to be next? Tara? Sir?
I'm Dave McBride, and I'm proud to say I'm from Culp Creek. And if you don't say Culp Creek, you got it wrong. But anyway, I lived up there for a while and was able to escape. And we actually got to ride on the train several times. First time that we rode on the train, they stuck us in a car, if you want to call it that. It was just a wooden frame, and it got better after that. But we also were living down in the Mount View area when in 1971 or 72 was when they filmed The Emperor of the North. And so we got to hear the train at that point in time, and it was a really nice thing. And I would like to say this intersection is really important to me because that's where my wife, as a senior in high school, she wasn't married to me yet, but I came down from Seattle for her graduation, and she happened to turn the corner when I was going down to get a graduation card for her, and she saw me and she almost ran off the road at this intersection. So lots of good memories here, and we're grateful to have been able to come tonight and view this magnificent painting. I want to share one thing. The shadow that she caught up there is incredible, and that helped to round out the train. And so I just wanted to make sure that you saw that and appreciated that. And the last thing I will tell you is that after I graduated from Seattle Pacific University, in a couple of years I got to come to Cottage Grove and teach elementary music for 4 years. So there's a lot of history here, and so I thank you for letting us share.
Thank you. And pick something off the bench. Yeah, thank you. Tara? Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's more people here than I thought. Okay. My name's Tara Hoy. I'm a granddaughter of Keith Stiff. So Debbie is my aunt. I remember riding on the Goose a handful of times when I was younger. We never moved to Cottage Grove until '88, but it was always a summer destination for us. And so I know we would go at least once, if not twice a summer. The main story I really remember is the wedding tree, and that one always stood out to me. And I was walking years later, an adult by then, on the Row River Trail. I don't know if you even know this story, with a good friend of mine, and I was trying to tell her the wedding story. And here comes Grandpa walking the other direction, and I'm like, Grandpa, perfect timing. I need you to tell me the wedding story. And we were right there on the straight stretch on Lang and found the tree, and he told us the story. So it was just lots of fond memories. It was fun.
Thank you. And pick something out. Yeah. What's the story? The legend is that when a Native American couple got married, they would bend a branch on a tree. And if the branch survived, so would their union. Yeah. Yeah. Who would like to share the next memory?
Anybody got a Labonte gang? The Lemon-Tie gang?
Ah, here comes the marshal.
So, I'm coming on behalf of the fine folks of Diston in the Bohemia Mining District, and as a representative of the spirit of BMD. And this train did a lot, well, not this train specifically, but the rails it rode on brought a lot of hope and industry to that community upriver. It was the heart and bloodline of Diston in the Bohemia Mountains. And it is important to honor its heritage and remember the fine memories it would bring when it was running as an excursion train up there for the folks of Cottage Grove. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Pick something out. And who wants to be next? Danny, do you have a story? A rescue? Okay, you can be after Danny.
Well, I guess this is the Lemon-Tie gang thing. So I know as a kid, we liked it when they would ride up and they would rob the train. So the train would stop there along Lang Road, and we'd get robbed, and they'd come on the train with us and stuff. So as a kid, that was pretty fun.
You can pick out something over there if you want. Suzanne was actually in a movie with number 19.
Well, I wasn't going to talk about that, but I was so fortunate enough to ride the train so many times. I live out by Cerro Gordo, and I don't know if all of you remember Steve Brannick, who used to work on the train, and he also would drive the train. And we had a stop at Cerro Gordo, and sometimes if I was there with my kids, he would stop and let us on in the engine and let us ride down for a while, and then he'd let us out. And it was just the most awesome thing to be able to experience. I also was on when Jerry Rust rented the train for when he ran for county commissioner, and he ran the train up to Rat Creek, and then they came back. I also participated the different times that the square dancers rented the train, and then they had all the hay bales set out by Rat Creek and had their party and then took the train back. But I just can't tell you the wonderful different things that have happened in our community with this train.
You could pick something out too. She's being shy, but she was in Emperor of the North. No, not on a date. No. So I was one of the Dairy Queen girls when Emperor of the North was being filmed in Cottage Grove, and Ernest Borgnine come in and ordered a blackberry sundae from me. And then he come back and ordered another one another time. And when Safeways was in the community center, I was walking on one end of the aisles and he was walking on the other, and we both looked down at each other at the same time, and he goes, "Hey, Sunshine, are you going to be there today? I want another blackberry sundae." And it was really touching that he remembered me outside of where he normally sees me, because we had to wear white dresses and red aprons and little hats. And he was just very friendly, and I enjoyed that. I love that memory. So would somebody else like to speak?
I'm Cindy Wheeldryer, and I am a transplant to Cottage Grove from the Bayou State in New Orleans, where I grew up. And I transferred from Louisiana State to the University of Oregon, and I came 6 months early to get residency for the fall, so I needed a job. And a Cottage Grove guy hired me and stole my heart. And I never went back, and my grandmother never forgave him for that. But the story, my goose story, is that Ralph had not been with anybody for many, many years, and so the buzz in the Wheeldryer clan was, Ralph's got a new girlfriend. And so he finally brought me home to meet his mom, and we live on the hill just north of town, and I heard the goose whistle. And I said, "What is that?" He goes, "I'll show you." And so I guess it went twice up the valley. So I was on the second run that day. And I've never seen anything so beautiful as Dorena Lake and the tree canopy that was over the track. And Ralph told me that the best place to ride the goose was in the back car, which is where we were.
And that's where Jeff's uncle left him. And it was the bar car. So would anybody else like to say something? We have lots of merchandise over here, so don't be shy. Okay, so I'm going to just let anybody go and pick up something off the bench, because we don't need to take that stuff home. And I want to thank you all for coming out for this wonderful dedication.